Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Added Time FPL. My name is Nate. This is Mike, and we're back for game week 12. We've just come off an international break. I had no idea what I did with myself. I was completely bored, not having football to watch. Spoke to the missus, maybe had some dinner plans instead of being sad about football. But I'm excited that we are back with FPL, and we're back with another video for game week 12. Mike, how are you doing? Did you enjoy the international break?
No, man. I hate the international break. How can you have three international breaks before game week
Oh,
12?
it's ridiculous.
That's insane. That's three international breaks before we even hit Christmas. Uh, uh, you know, the players are tired, and we know they're tired, and they know what's happening because there's a fixture overload coming up for Christmas. You
Mm-hmm.
know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing up to 2 games a week sometimes. And on top of that, players pulled out of this international break. So we tired of international breaks. The
They
players are
tired of
tired of
internet.
international breaks. Everybody's tired, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's tired. And as much as it was nice to take a break from FPL, right? Like for our sanity and our hearts and our mental health break. We took
There
a
we go.
mental health.
Mental health break. Yeah.
Aside from the mental health break, it's good to be back and I'm ready to go, ready to claw back those points. I feel like there's a bit of a reset now. I can somehow claw my way back towards you, and hopefully, after a break, it's an opportunity for the teams who are struggling to maybe find some form, and those who have had form to maybe break that form. So hopefully, we can break your form going into the
Yeah.
congestion of the Christmas time. Speaking of Christmas, how's the weather in the UK?
It's getting very cold. There's been loads of snow warnings. There's actually been snowfall already, I think around the Midlands, which is kind of the centre of England. There's predicted snowfall for the weekend in the south of London, southwest of England as well. So we'll see if that affects any football. Um, but as of yet, 0 degrees and just wet, rain, cold. So I don't know how the players are going to do it because I certainly wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, Calgary, Alberta had its big snow dump, the start of the cold, start of the white, and it's going to be frozen there till probably March, April. So, but that doesn't affect the football.
No,
But when it snows by you there in the UK, we could see some matches cancelled. And why that's a big thing for those FPL players who are new to FPL, a cancelled match for weather could lead us to some double game weeks, which we were promised less double game weeks with a fixture a schedule that was set up to prevent too many double game weeks, which is
to
weather
prevent
could
to prevent
easily.
too many double game weeks, but encourage international breaks,
Oh my god!
which it seems like that's the case.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that was
you're right. More fixture cancels is more potential double game weeks. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out.
which is something we don't want.
No,
Me and you
no,
and anybody else who's played their triple captain. You don't want to see double
no,
game weeks. You
because
want
that's
the
more
weather to remain
opportunity.
nice
Yeah, exactly.
because we've already played our wild card, and I feel like we got the most bang out of our buck for that wild card.
Definitely,
But a
and the
double
triple
game
captain.
week on a Salah form right now could be crazy, or even Haaland. Speaking of the cold, Cole Palmer was one of the
Ooh.
players who pulled out of the international break, along with Saka, along with a whole host of players who did not go and travel to play. What do you think about that, Nate? Should we be concerned? I mean, my team, as it is, our FPL team, looking at it right now, FPL Added Time team has 4 yellows. My base team also has 4 yellows. I don't know how many yellows you got.
I've got
Portions.
I've got two yellows, so not as bad. But they are Palmer, one of them. I'm not too worried. I mean, he's on my starting 11. I think he'll play because it's all part of that whole tactic thing. England didn't necessarily have the most difficult competition. They played Greece again in Ireland, both of which they won. So I think they're in a good place. And I think Thomas Tuchel is a Chelsea fan still, so that's why he doesn't need Palmer. Well, he hasn't taken over completely yet, but you know what I mean. So
You'll be
yeah,
there in March for the next international break.
yeah. So I don't think there's anything to worry about there as far as the English people injuries. Um, and Buemo, we don't know. We'll have to monitor him. Um, but yeah,
I
not a,
think definitely with the Christmas schedule that we've mentioned, this is the time in the season where you actually have to have a bench.
mm,
Because yes, Nate's not worried about Mbuemo, but I guarantee you Nate's looking at his bench going, hmm, who's coming on if Mbuemo
Buemo
is injured? Or
definitely.
if Palmer does get rested against Leicester? Like what is on my bench? Now is when you want to get that bench, like, ready for an intense winter, double fixtures in a week, 2 game weeks in a week, not double game weeks, but 2 game weeks.
Stock up for the winter. Stock that bench for
Yeah.
the winter. Yep.
Stockfell. Put that in your stocking.
um,
Um,
on
you know what?
internationals, in quickly,
Yeah.
sorry, on internationals, if we can move on to the next international. I made a comment about it last week, and we just chatted on the like before we started recording. You were thinking, "What is this guy talking about?" And I, frankly, probably didn't know what I was talking about because it was quite late when we were filming. But I remember seeing something about it, and it was that Egypt have already qualified for Afcon, thus meaning Salah did not go and play this weekend. Or yeah, this weekend, this past international break, meaning Salah is well rested. He did not play internationally. He's staying in England, probably trained. Um, Looking good, on form, playing against Southampton. So we'll talk about him later for captaincy choice, but yeah, just something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, you went from Cole Palmer right to the fire of Salah. This guy's on form. He's the captain choice. He has been the outstanding captain choice, aside from Haaland's early form and Cole Palmer's sporadic
Yeah, Salah's
hat
pedigree is
tricks.
just, he's been proving us wrong. He's just
So,
been, yeah,
if I could have had my captain on Salah from game week 1 and left it on there and not touched it, I would take it. I'd take it.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that
yeah.
just means that these prices, what now? 12.9? You've been
12.9.
sleeping on Salah.
Yeah,
I think gone up point 0.2 since you brought him in, right?
he
This last time.
has. I brought him in at 7. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It's
you
yeah,
did a
that
good
you
job
pushed
bringing
that
him in.
snooze button and you didn't wake up in time to bring Salah in your team. But it's not too late. He's not 13 yet, so maybe just do it. We just did
Yeah,
it,
like
by the way.
we just did it. We're gonna show you this now. We just brought in Salah for our
um,
Christmas team. What
the
did you
other,
call it, Nate?
the Advent card,
Yeah,
not the
the
wild card, the
Advent
Advent
card.
card. The other big topic, big name would be Haaland. Obviously had a bit of a dry spell, scored before the
A
international
bit of a
break,
dry spell.
quite a
Did
dry
he forget
spell.
how to play soccer?
Well,
Did his
he was in
software
South Africa
crash?
in the summer in the dry heat, while we in the English weather and the Canadian weather freezing our asses off.
Did he get power failures? Was it load shedding?
That's probably what happened. But he scored before the international break, and then he goes and scores a hat trick for Norway. I mean, it wasn't the strongest of sides. It was Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? But nevertheless, a hat trick's a hat trick. So does that mean he comes back on firing cylinders? Who knows?
Well, there's a bigger reason why he might be. And even though we pulled the trigger on a Highlanders team for our FPL combined team, there's a reason why I might be keeping him in my team, and that's because Kevin De Bruyne is back. And is
And
that
we
the
all know what
talisman needed
KDB.
to unlock that
Yeah.
which is the unstoppable force of Haaland as a number 9 is KDB? Because I've been preaching this for the last couple of weeks. Foden is not the best person to set up Haaland. He doesn't play the same way as De Bruyne. He doesn't hit those long balls up. Foden wants ball to feet. He wants to run. He wants to pass and receive back and take the shot. He does not like playing balls out for Haaland. But KDB is the may I assist you?
He's the butler.
He's
He's the Alfred to Arnold's Batman.
that's it. That's it.
um, yeah, I'm interested in that pick as well. I think I'm in the same boat as you. For now, I'm going to be holding Haaland. But yeah, for our joint team, we've got without him, so we kind of covered. So we'll let you guys know which one is the best pick. Um, Last one, talking about big topics of the week. Well, two things. Quick one. Another hat trick in the works, not just Haaland. Mr. Chris Wood scored a hat trick this week as well for his
Did you
national
think
side.
the, the sort of the way this drama has played out between Haaland and Wood? One costs more than half less.
Double,
Okay,
yeah, yeah. It's like,
and and he's scoring the same amount of points. We're more consistent. He scores a hat trick when Haaland scores a hat trick in international break, but his fixtures are just as tough as Haaland over the next three. And if I was taking out Haaland, I'd be bringing Wood in, and a lot of you have. He's like plus 20% owned.
yeah, wow,
So he really does seem to be propelling Forest from a I survived the Premier League to can I finish in the top half of the table, even top six.
yeah. Um, yeah, no, definitely.
They got some
We've been
sculpts, eh?
speaking about him. We've been speaking about Wood. So yeah, always a player to keep your eye on. He's having a phenomenal season. Um, and then the last one, just the Cunha versus Strand Larson pick. This week it was Strand Larson scoring the points last week, or not this past week, but game week 11 it was Cunha. Game week 10 it was Strand Larson.
Okay, wait,
Um,
don't be shy. Let's make it. We had a thing last game week, where we were like, is Cunha the pick or is Larson the pick? And I was on team Cunha, and I was in team I can't afford anybody but start Larson.
who's your captain?
And okay, fine. I did captain. I did mess up my captain choice, but I think could you
No, you're
agree
right.
that I think Cunha moving forward is the asset to have up
No,
front for you?
I think so. I think so. I say to you, I wish I could afford him. I just didn't have the funds for it. So Cunha
Yeah,
would be the
again.
Strand Larsen would be the next pick. Shut up. But nevertheless, the Wolves have a great fixture run, so either one of them could score. Most likely Cunha to Hall. It's not as close as an Mbuemo Wisa matchup, who we will talk about later this video. Um, but jumping along to our team reviews, because we can actually just double back to you just talking about Cunha. You brought him in. He got you good points this weekend. Um,
Yeah,
and
he's just such a good player, and if you watch him, he passes the eye test, and he's involved in everything, and he takes shots from outside the box, and he's deadly inside the box. And Wolves don't even know how to defend; they only attack. So, like,
he's the man.
it's a no-brainer, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think as much as you can say you're not sure, you can say Salah is a staple, right?
Mm, yeah.
I think Cunha is a staple. I think he should be in everybody's team. I don't see why anybody should be going without him unless he gets injured.
Mm, mm. Uh, yeah. I think so too. I think he's anchored that like mid-budget price point striker. That number, like that third striker, but that striker that still will play with Holland. You
Mm.
can save
If
your
you're gonna
funds as
go to
well.
Ireland, you kind of have to go with two cheaper strikers, and I like my two strikers, Welbeck and Cunha.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's honestly you've cooked it like you've made mutton curry or something with that combination. I'm telling you, it's fire. Um, but then you made a poor decision in your captaincy choice.
Listen, I was very tired, maybe a little drunk. Just joking, I don't drink. Maybe
Working
not.
two
Working
jobs.
9 to 9. Fast. Listen, it was a bit tricky, and I did want to take a gamble. But like I said to you, Nate, to be honest, if I was going to switch it from Buemo, my final thought was to go back to Haaland and take the risk on him actually hauling. And he ended up scoring the same as in Buemo, so it
Yeah,
wasn't that much of a big deal. So realistically, in the end, Salah was the captain choice to go with. And I think I would have had a very, very good game week if I got that extra 7 to 10 points from
definitely.
Salah captaining.
Definitely.
So yeah,
For me, I captain Salah. So, I mean, I brought him in and captain him. It's like if I'm going to bring in him, I'm going to captain him, and he paid off. I also had Smith Rowe hauling for me again. I know he's hurt you over the last 2 weeks or so.
hey, he's doing nothing while I had him, and now all of a sudden he's pulling it out of a magic rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, there you go. So
He's
happy.
rowing you to points.
Ended with 72. Ended with the fat green arrow for the international break, which is nice to see. Back into the top 12,000th. So slowly climbing. Mike.
I used to be compete. Now I'm rooting for you. Okay, so I'm very proud
Oh,
to be a part of a
thank
channel
you.
that is champion as a champion that is pushing forward. And if I can't beat him, he better as well beat everybody else and finish first, bro. Finish first. And speaking about
Finishing
t-
first.
not finishing first, I hope they don't finish first. But you know what? There is a little bit of a turnaround. The new manager bounce is can it happen twice because United went with two fixtures where they got some decent results,
Why you
and
gotta
now all
be
of a
so
sudden,
rude? No, sorry, he got fired. Oh, not really, but yeah.
and now we've got Amarim back. We expected another new manager bounce, and one of the players we're looking at United assets and thinking they might actually come to fruition now. The nice run of fixtures before we hit like a tough Manchester derby and an Arsenal match against Arsenal for Man United. But Fernandez is on form,
Bruno
and
Fernandes. Yeah.
we were worried in the beginning of the season about not having him, and it turned out to be okay because United has been rubbish. But he scored like insane amount of points over the last two game weeks, and I don't see that ending because guess what? What nationality is Fernandez?
Portuguese.
What nationality is Amarim?
Portuguese.
And I would argue that Fernandez. I know a lot of United supporters probably don't support what I'm saying, but I think Bruno Fernandez is the best player in that team.
You know what? I think you're right. I think scoring the penalty against Chelsea, bastard. Securing the draw, I guess, and then going to play away from home. sorry, then going to go play again at home and scoring a goal and 2 assists, feeding Garnacho as well, I must say. Yeah, he's going to be the center. They're going to Amaron's going to build the whole team around Fernandez. It's just the way it's going to be. So I back it. He's not only the best player currently at United, but also the most valuable in terms of FPL assets if you were going to go with a United player.
And I'll never forget that January when he came in and he just like scored like an insane amount of goals. That calendar year he came in, and I would not be surprised if this Christmas season he ends New Year's and Christmas with some of the best points and goals and statistics. He's always had good statistics for being creatively involved. Things just haven't been good at United, but a change in sort of flavor, change in a vibe, an atmosphere lift, and we could see Fernandez hit those old levels. So I'm backing Fernandez. I might take Fernandez. Yeah, I might take Fernandez out for someone, but
Yeah,
it's a
we
good one. And you, what?
in
Who
our
else would you say in the
well,
team is worth looking at?
just quickly, I was just going to mention in our joint team we don't have Haaland, which means we have funds to do this. So if we wanted to, because we've got Mbuemo and Wisa, we can just upgrade Wisa to Fernandez, and we have the money. So
You mean we'd have to let go of Buemo,
that's what I meant. We could upgrade Mbuemo to Fernandez, but
but
we hold on
that
to
beard,
Wisa.
bro. That beard is dangerous. You lose that beard, that then you lose that Redford, that bee, that honey. You know what I mean? I
The
hear you
bees.
though. I hear you.
It's just
I
an
hear
option.
you.
Another player would be Garnacho. Um, obviously, he's been playing. He's a good player. He's just been unlucky, I guess.
He's gonna score a
Um,
hat trick, bicycle soon. You just
I
know it.
mean, he's playing
It's
Ipswich
coming.
away. It's probably going to happen there. Let's be honest. Sorry, Ed Sheeran. But yeah, scoring didn't play for very long. I think he came on in the second half against Leicester. Still scored, so
What
fair play
about
to him.
Timo Haaland?
And then Hoyland. Yeah, look, I thought that the new manager revival thing would probably be make him spark and score something. Just quiet. So I don't know. I don't really rate him. I'd rather
He's a
go
spunky
Fernandez.
player. I think there's room for him to maybe match Jackson's level over the next couple of weeks with a new manager. But it all depends on Bruno, because if everything goes through Bruno, you might find that Holland has to hold the ball up so Bruno can run ahead of him in attack. We have to see what a United playing with the back five or back three with those flying wing backs. How does that affect Holland? Does he get the ball to feet? Does he get the ball to head? Or is he just there for the energy up front? So we'll see. I think Fernandez is the way to go, and Garnacho and Holland as backup options, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um, double back into our conversation about finishing first in the mini league. There's another team that's currently planning on finishing first, which is Liverpool, who are having a phenomenal season and have caused us to think about potentially holding a handful of them for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because they
Because
point
similar to
slots.
Arsenal and City, yeah, well, point slots. Well done, well done, well done, well done. Salah number one, probably set and forget at this point, right? You don't really take him
And
out
this, if
at
he
this
doesn't
point.
get injured, just leave him. Just leave him. It might be even his last season in FPL, and he buggers off to Saudi or whatever. Just leave him there. Captain him. Leave him. Watch him shine. Unless Liverpool have some sort of capitulation, which I am not counting out. New manager,
It's not impossible. It's
new
not
league,
impossible.
new manager, new league. He's never done this before. The Liverpool team have though. So while I back Salah and I back Virgil and I back some of those midfielders who have been around Liverpool for a long enough time, the even Allison, I back that spine that with when you have a goalkeeper like Allison, then Virgil, and then you have Salah up front. I think their weakness is in their midfield, because even though they've got strong midfielders, that spine of experience from the last 4 or 5 years isn't there. They don't have that. But like Salah, Allison, and Virgil, with Trent as well. Maybe if you consider Trent the midfielder, if he plays a little higher up,
Yeah, yeah,
with that spine, like I think Liverpool have a really good shot now, not throwing it away. But there's always the chance with a new manager that's inexperienced in this league. Like you saw the match that they did lose was against Nottingham Forest, bro. You can't switch off, not even for a second. You can't just start the Darwin Nunes and think it's a walk in the park.
yeah, yeah. Um, on that, speaking about walking parks, there was a fixture last week that we thought was going to throw up a ton of goals. which disappointed completely and was quite a boring game, was the Wolves and Southampton game. Um, we thought there'd be crazy goals from both teams, but turns out Wolves actually kept a clean sheet. Surprise, surprise. Guess who can't keep a clean sheet? Brentford. Guess who has Flecken? Me. But anyway, that's enough rant for that. But um,
I have
debate.
two things that you've done this season that I feel like I can hold against you. Flecken was a poor choice, and stole the Welbeck over Pedro. But yeah, the
Pedro
Flecken
over
things.
Volbeck. Pedro over
Yeah.
Volbeck. Yeah. And currently Solanke.
No. That was a good, it was a decent enough gamble. But yeah, like made a note there that we got to keep an eye on this Bournemouth Brighton fixture.
Mm,
Brighton concede so many goals, but they also score so many goals. And I know you were like, we were a bit disappointed about the Southampton Wolves game, but if you consider the fact that Southampton and Wolves were both playing to stay in the league, and the teams that they're playing against each other,
mm.
it's not a surprise that they played it a little tighter,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that game was 6 pointer for them. Whereas Bournemouth and Brighton are up in the top six, bro. Like this team's going for the jugular here.
Yeah, yeah. That
They
should
put,
be a cracker, right? Like this should be the highlight. This should be the game that we're looking forward to be watching.
and you tell me, Pedro or Welbeck, who's scoring the goal?
Hey, Pelbeck. I don't know. Both
Because
of them.
Pedro has been
I
on
don't know.
penalties before, but Welbeck's had been on penalties now. But Pedro hauled last game out, but Welbeck's been consistent. I don't even know what to do.
And then you throw in Evan Nelson in the middle of it, who's also been scoring for Bournemouth, and now you've got a mix of three. Like who hauls? Um,
Come on,
I
let's put
mean,
some money on this game.
uh,
Goals.
well, Evan Nelson scored three in his last 3 game weeks, so he scored a goal in each of his last 3 game weeks. Um, oh well, he's scoring right, and I think Welbeck takes that number 10 role. So I feel like two assists for Welbeck and a goal for Pedro.
Yeah, I think what it boils down to is who's going to be on pens.
Yeah.
Do they give it? Who's
Do they give it back to
on? Because
Pedro? Nah, it's rude,
or does
isn't
it
it?
Welbeck stay with it? Like it's a tricky one. I think as long as Welbeck's not missing penalties, he should probably stay on it. But I'm greedy because I have Welbeck. So
And because you have Welbeck, what are you going to do with your team this week?
me, well, we've been talking about Fernandez, and I'm so sick and tired of Spurs being so up and down. Even though I think that Spurs could probably beat Man City this week because they always seem to Man City have a weakness for Spurs for whatever reason. Um,
Not wrong.
uh, I think I think if I was going to take out Haaland, I'd have enough money to bring in Bruno Fernandes in my midfield. Have a
Fernandes.
Man United go with this Portuguese manager bounce and see what happens. If I can make uh, Johnson turn into a Fernandez, I'm all for it. And then that just means I have to downgrade Haaland. But there's so many choices. I can go Pedro. I can go Wood. I can go Wisa. I can go I can go Nunes. I can go Jackson if I want to. The striker options are actually opening up quite nicely. And as you've seen with our team, when you take Haaland out, you have so many options.
Yeah, you've
It's
so
actually
much
difficult.
money. Like it feels like you've just got a return on your investment or your retirement annuity is just paid out when you take out Holland. That's how much
But
money you
that
have.
being said, we just talked about KDB being back. So maybe I have to find another way to get Fernandez in the team, if at all, because the thought of KDB assisting Haaland for hat tricks, I can just see the headline now. KDB back, Haaland hat trick, back to usual business as usual.
Mm,
I just
mm.
see it. What about you? What's your plans? Don't
I'm
say it.
I'm gonna tell everyone to pause the video right now and to guess in the comments what my plan is for this week. All right, I'll wait.
Every week. Every week, the same plan. The same plan. Every week. Just tell them. Tell them what your plan is.
I'm gonna save a transfer.
It's not fair. Okay, this 5D chess that you play in saving transfers, making many wildcards is amazing, and it's got you in the 12,000th place in the world. But it's unfair, and I rebuke this.
um,
It's
my
just when someone says they're saving a transfer, you know what they're telling you? They're giving you the middle finger and saying, "Well, guess what?
it doesn't matter
I've
if you make
actually
changes. I don't really care.
I've been playing this game ahead. I've prepared my team. I've made good choices. I have a good bench. I just know what I'm doing. So yes, I'm very. It's just
I hope I
it's
don't
just
sound like that.
annoying. How do you counter? How do you counter someone who's not doing anything and beating you? What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. I'll let you know if I figure it out if I get to that position. But why I'm saving the transfers? Because I'm a little bit worried for the double. It's not really a double game week. It's a midweek game week, happening after game week 13. For those of you who don't know, just a look ahead. Obviously, next week, after this weekend, next week we're playing starting on the 29th, which is a Friday, game week 13, ending on a Sunday, with a quick turnaround to a Tuesday start of game week 14. So only one day in between those fixtures. Um, Stretching Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then on top of that, we start on the Saturday. So 2 weeks from now, those fixtures are going to be thick and fast. So I'm hoping to save a transfer this week, save a transfer next week, and then have 2 or 3 transfers for the mid game week 15, 14 time. So
Mm.
that's why I'm doing that.
Bench has got to be good, man. Like,
Definitely.
I'm not going to be surprised if a lot of those teams for that, out of those out of those three fixtures, one of those three fixtures, they play a second stringer or rest their more impactful players that they need for the weakest game.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then I'm thinking of like
I'm
if
thinking of
you got
Chelsea, to be honest, because
yeah.
we've knocked out the cup, so we need to rotate these squads. So it's honestly the perfect time to bench Cole Palmer and rest him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't rest him against this weekend against.
No, no,
I
no, no.
might
But
rest him.
maybe
Actually, you
two.
might if he's injured. If he's carrying an injury, you might
Well,
rest him
he's traveling to
for
Leicester.
the start.
You're right. He
He's
could very well be benched. You're right.
he's definitely playing against Aston Villa if he's
Yeah,
fit.
and he
But
could be
then
benched
against
against Southampton.
Southampton,
Yeah, save him
yeah.
for the Spurs
So
game.
exactly.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to monitor, and also because I don't have a wild card until January, so I need to be very careful about just spending transfers because if I get someone injured, it's going to be tough. But that being said, about injuries and team selections and whatnot, I really don't think there's many people to captain this week other than Salah. I mean, we can talk about a
It's
few,
Salah.
but it's Salah, isn't it?
It's Salah. It's always Salah. It's been Salah since like four seasons ago. He's just inevitably just consistent. He's not. He doesn't seem to have the the ceiling that Haaland does. Like when Haaland scores, he scores 5 goals. Like
Mm,
Haaland scores, when Haaland scores, it's like a 17 pointer every time,
mm, mm.
right? But Salah gets 10 points every week minimum.
Yeah, yeah,
So, and he's playing Southampton. And we spoke already. Nate called it. He did not go to Egypt for the international break. He did not play. He's fully rested. And
yeah,
at his age, that's like a new lease on life. Coming back and playing against players who might be tired.
yeah, yeah. And still, like, hopefully he carries his form because he's been scoring in the last 4 game weeks, I think he's been scoring. So, yeah, man, I think if he can keep that form, he's obviously been doing training during the international break. So I don't think he'll be any less sharp than what he normally is. And they're going
Liverpool
for the
supporters
title. They're going for the title, so he has to show up.
Liverpool supporters can back me up here. Salah has been rubbish in some games, and
Yeah,
he still scores at the end of the game, and he still gets a penalty, and he still comes away with the points. Now, if you're in a position like Nate, top 12,000 in the world, why are you taking a chance with the Highlanders blanking? There's no need. You could go with the consistent king, FPL King Salah, and get your 10 points, bank 10 to 20,
thanks for
right?
coming. Yeah, yeah.
Whereas for me, us in the lower echelons of clawing our way back to former glory, maybe we can captain Ireland. But those of you leading your mini leagues, captain Salah until he tells you no.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
But
That's
if you
good advice.
but if
I'm
you
going to
don't
take
have
that
Salah,
advice.
Nate, yeah. If you don't captain Salah, who should the people out there captain? Because they don't. They were
um,
silly. They couldn't afford him. He's 12.9 now. Who do you captain?
would be the combo of either Mbuemo or Wisa. Mr. Wisa is back and he has not stopped firing since his return. Mbuemo still, although a 5 pointer last week and a bit of a blank the previous, still scored a 15 goal haul, still has it, still got it. They are playing a weak Everton side. Sorry, Everton. So if you're looking for an outside choice, I'd say one of those. And then last but not least, I would say Haaland, because Haaland's always got to be in the captaincy picks. He might not be the best captaincy choice, but he's always going to be up there. And they are playing at home. But again, it is Spurs. So Spurs might just thrash him 4-1.
You heard that score prediction first. This man's predicting things. He talks points into being.
Solanke
So
hat trick, please.
calm down, calm down, calm
Yeah,
down.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts coming into game week 14. And I guess we wait and see, and then just take them week by week. The podcasts are going to be coming very quick. Obviously, we're going to try and keep up with the game weeks, so there'll be quick turnarounds. So definitely turn the notifications on because you don't want to miss it. Like I said before, 12,000 points. If you want a screenshot, I'll show you. Not talking rubbish. It's clearly working. So subscribe. Um, and yeah, Mike, you have anything to add?
No, I'm just excited for football to be back. Chelsea game first thing 5:30 a.m. for me on Saturday here in Canada. But there's some good games to look forward to this weekend. You got Chelsea coming back with a nice fixture. You got that open scoring Bournemouth Brighton fixture. You got Spurs and City. Who knows what's gonna happen? We're hoping to see Liverpool
I really hope
bounce with
Chris Wood
some
can score against Arsenal because that will kind of solidify his
oof,
choice as a
and us and
striker.
Chelsea into third place solidify
Oof,
that too.
please, Chris Wood,
And,
we support you. Us as Chelsea fans,
and
we support you.
and I think everybody's going to be on Sunday looking at Amarim against Ipswich and saying, what is the new United going to look like? How does it affect our points going forward? What defensive shape is he playing? What formation? So there's a lot to look at this weekend to set us up for Christmas. So I'm looking forward to it. So I hope everybody's looking forward. You've got your team ready. Don't forget about the deadlines coming up.
And next week, Monday, is exactly a month until Christmas. So there you go. Can you believe it? We're already towards the end of the year. But yes, we'll be back next week with Game Week 13, Episode 13. As always, may the points be ever in your favor. Good luck. Captain the right person. Let us know who you're captaining down below. Let us know your team selection as always. And we will see you next week.
Good luck, guys. Cheers.